So I have a dog. And I wish I had a cigarette to accompany this, because I feel like it'd be accurate, but I don't smoke. It has been a very interesting couple of weeks. Let's just say that I needed 3 of the following things in order to really commit to the idea of having a dog. Number 1, I needed money. And I needed time. 2 things that I had. The secret third thing is something I didn't know until the moment that she went into my arms, that I lacked. And that was emotional patience. I thought I had that. I thought I had that in the books. I thought I already acquired that. No, that was lacking. The 2 others were guaranteed. This one wasn't, though. This one's something I had to gain through the process, which is my fault. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about her. My dog's name is Ube, like the purple yam, because I'm hopping on the bandwagon of Asians naming their dogs 2-syllable words from a name or some sort of, like, food from their culture. Everybody's fucking cat is named Miso or Mochi or Suki or something like that. So I'm like, okay, well, mine's going to be named after the Filipino purple yam. Also from like a yelling perspective. Like yelling, Ube! Is just that sounds good. Like one other name I was considering was fucking Tomato. I'm not yelling tomato at fucking Washington Square Park when Ube just rolls off the tongue a little bit quicker, a little bit more fierce. I'm having some emotional issues, as I mentioned previously. When I moved out of my house in Arizona and moved to the East Coast, I had gone from living with a dog to living with a cat. Weston's cat, Beck. Now, I'm not a cat person. I've never been a cat person, which is funny because most of the people that I know, most of my friends, have cats. And growing up, I went to a neighbor's house all the time, and they had so many cats. So I was around them a lot. But I don't really care for cats. So after living with Beck for a while, when we've known each other for about 3 years, I never developed the taste to get my own cat after living with one. Which is funny because taking care of a cat is much more simpler and easier than taking care of a dog. They do their own business in their own litter box, and then they do whatever the fuck they want after that. You don't gotta exercise them, you don't have to do all these crazy things for them like you do a dog. Another thing was that I had to bite the bullet to get a dog. That has some negative connotations behind that saying. It's not a positive saying. How I'm wording it is... Okay, it's like this. I had to force myself to get a dog because my parents said something a long time ago. They said, you can read every baby book on the shelf, and you can take every maternity class in the county, but nothing will prepare you for the moment when it actually happens. And I believe that to be so true when it comes to having a child or having a pet or being responsible for some sort of life, you know? That you can wait for the perfect moment to have a kid, to do this, and that, but sometimes there is no perfect moment. But that doesn't apply to everything though, because you do need to give a lot of time for certain big life decisions. But for me personally, I realized that for the dog scenario, the clouds basically parted for me. And I saw her, and I said, okay, well, she's an option, she's on sale, and if I decide not to get her, well, the clouds will close again, and then maybe in the next year, or the next couple years, or 5 years, the clouds will part again. Like, this is not the only time that the clouds will part. They will, in fact, separate. But every time that they do, I'm not going to be more or less prepared. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I've grown up with dogs, right? My parents had a dog, my aunt had 3 dogs, my grandparents had dogs. We've gone through so many cycles of dogs that, like, I know the run of the game. And we all got them when they were just, like, a couple weeks old. So I know the game of raising a puppy. Basically, like, a couple months ago, Weston showed me this dog, was like, wow, this dog looks exactly like your childhood dog. That is so funny. And I look at it, and I'm like, that is so strange. She does look like my dog. When I was like, yeah, I would like to get my own dog, I never envisioned, like, it has to be the same exact breed as my childhood dog. And it has to have the same exact coat either. But things just happened and fell into place where it just worked out like that. And I was debating on getting her or not because when I saw the photo, I was like, this is weird. This is weird. Like, my childhood dog had a black and white coat. They don't look exactly alike, but it is a bit odd. I don't know if I can get over this. I don't know if that's a good choice for me. But I realized, what the fuck? Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who cares? Who actually cares? So I was like, all right, let's get her. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I don't know if I finished my point, but I bit the bullet to get a dog because I knew that there was no perfect moment. And I wasn't going to be more responsible in a year, 2, 3 years, for me personally. Okay, and I put it off because I knew how much of a big responsibility it is to have a dog, to have a pet, because you got to prepare lots of things. You got to realize that this thing is going to be in your life for the next 10, 15 years if we're all lucky. If there are any diseases, if they get cancer, if they need all their teeth pulled out, you got to make a certain decision that is not going to be easy to make. And then whatever decision you make, can you afford to make that decision? Surgeries, all these types of things, medication, it's expensive. And it's not like, okay, you do a one-time payment for the dog and then it's over. No, you got to do the food. You got to do all the vaccines. There's not just like one or two, there's a couple, depending on where you live. You got to get them spayed if you don't want to get them pregnant, or if you don't want to let them get other dogs pregnant. There's a whole process. I'm surprised certain shelters don't do home checks to make sure that we are responsible enough to take care of a dog. Anyway, so I got this dog now. I've only had Shih Tzu Malteses growing up. So I thought this was a good idea in coincidence that, I know what it's like to handle this breed because that's the only breed that my family has ever had. They're lap dogs. They're loving, They're like Velcro dogs. They kind of stick with you wherever you go. So I was expecting that. And of course, it's too early to tell. She's also a girl. And I prefer girl dogs just because there's already 2 boys in the house right now. I'm not... No more. We need to equal alliances. There needs to be equal teams on both sides. Anyway, we bring her home, and for the past month, it's been pretty good. And I know that dogs, they all have certain personalities. You can't predict how they're going to act, think, or respond to you, especially because you're a stranger. But of course, God forbid, a girl wants a dog that likes her. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? Am I asking for the world? I'm not asking for $1 million. I'm just asking for a dog who wants to give me a kiss here and there. Here's some fun facts about Ube. Not a big fan of doors. I think the doors here in our apartment are very heavy. They don't make these huge squeaking sounds, but they are quite heavy, large doors. In comparison to her size, I understand. I completely understand. The issue, though, is that she kind of needs to learn how to let us know when she needs to go potty outside. I'm sorry, I don't want to say the word too loud because she's over there. The issue is that she kind of needs to learn to be able to get close to the door and scratch on it to let us know that she needs to go to the bathroom outside. Because right now, for the past month, she has learned, because she's very smart, that she has to do her business outside. I take her out there in the back, she does her business, we're good, we're golden. We're golden girls. I think what's happening is that she's learned that because she's only allowed to go outside, that she's waiting for me to pick her up every couple hours to let her outside, and she's just holding it in. But I want a reverse situation where she lets me know when she needs to go, and I will take her outside whenever she wants to. We ran into this issue, and we realized that, of course, dogs, they learn things at different paces. It's too early to teach them how to do this, and that. But she's learned quite a few different things. So I don't think that she's stupid. I think she's just simply scared of the door, which is understandable. So I had a brilliant solution. I said, let me put a bell. I've seen the bells on TikTok. I've seen people be like, put a bell by the door. She can put her paw up there to let people know, to let us know that she needs to go potty outside. We'll associate that sound with the urination, with the defecation. Things start clicking. So I order the bell. Amazon Prime. It's there the next day. We screw it in. I motion to her the purpose of the bell. I say, hey girl, when you want to go outside, you take your little paw and you do this. And I hit the bell very lightly and it makes a bell sound. It's not the loudest bell in the world, but it's definitely not the quietest. It rings, she gets scared, runs away. Okay, let's try again. We bring her a little bit later and we motion to the bell. We say, okay, all right, put your paw in here when you want to go potty outside. She is backing away. I can hear her claws scraping along the hardwood floor to scoot away from the bell. Now, she's already scared of the door, and I've already screwed in a fucking bell into the wall next to the door. Like the aura or the corner of that place, she doesn't even want to enter to. So we've backtracked. We've gone back a few steps. We did not progress. We went backwards. We unscrew the bell. I show her that the bell is no longer there. I put it in the trash. The next week, she still thinks somehow that the bell is nearby or that the bell is in the vicinity. She doesn't want to go by the fucking door. And I get it. I'm just telling you the scenario. I'm not saying she's ridiculous because she was born yesterday. But this is the situation that I run into that I realized, okay, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do from a parent perspective. How am I going to teach her that she needs to let me know? Girl, you let me know when you want to go. She's a people pleaser. God, she's just like her mommy. Anyway, that's one issue that we're slowly overcoming. I don't have a problem with that because it's too early to tell. I just think it's funny. Number 2 is I know that she's teething. I'm not stupid. And I know that a lot of the qualities that I'm seeing are puppy qualities. But also with that, it's not just like you're only seeing them as a puppy. There are certain parts of her personality that are coming out. She doesn't give a fuck about head scratches, chin scratches, belly scratches, leg scratches, scratches in general. She does, this is my theory that may be wrong. I think she just moves too fast to enjoy anything. She's running around. I don't think she's processing that something feels nice when I scratch behind her ears, when I rub inside her ears. She does not give a fuck. She literally does not care. She doesn't get any satisfaction when I touch her belly, rub it a little bit, her ears. I've tried everywhere that is, appropriate. And it seems like she just is like, I don't know. And so I can't provide her any any motions of I want to take care of you. I love you. And all these things. Physically, I can't be like, good girl. She does not give a fuck. Secondly, she's not a kisser. She doesn't really lick you unless you put lotion on. And maybe, once again, that'll develop later on. But of course, when you've been taking care of a life for about a month, you want a little bit of, I give so much, can I receive some love? Do you trust me? And here's the thing, I know that she trusts me. I know she trusts Weston, because she sleeps on her back. Within the first week, she was sleeping on her back. Now, for those who don't know, when a dog, and I assume other animals, when they start sleeping on their back with their belly exposed, it indicates that they feel safe enough to expose the most vulnerable parts of their body, which is the stomach. And so they feel like they're safe, and they feel like the people around them, they trust them. She'll sit in my lap and eat her toy. She'll get excited when I come home. She'll walk around and follow me wherever I go. But if I go bend down to give her a little pet or say hi, I am met with a harsh bite instead of a cute little kiss. Now, because I've grown up with Shih Tzu Malteses, I've never experienced this specific quality with them before. Usually there's an equal balance, but it seems like there's more biting than licking. And there tends to be more growling than there is anything else. And I think maybe that's just, once again, she's teething. We're in the prime teething era. But of course, her teething is a bit more intense than anything I've experienced in the past dogs that I've had and their teething phases. And I have to come to the terms that I'm not going to get this perfect scenario where she does everything I want her to do. She's going to have her own personality, and I will love her through each and every phase of that. She's in her terrible twos, and she's only hit about 4 months. But I like that for her. Whenever she pees, it's not like she squats down. She does squat down, but one leg is out, so it looks like she's going to do I forgot what they're called, but I used to do them in jazz. Those things. And she doesn't like eating her food in a bowl or even on a plate, but she likes eating it straight up on the floor. You are not a primal animal. You live in a very nice apartment in New York City. It's okay, girl. You don't have to revert back to those instincts. You're taken care of. Okay? She's just silly and also just crazy, but yeah. What more can I say? She's not fully vaccinated yet, so I can't take her out on walks. But by the time you see this, she will be. But you have to wait so many weeks in between each one. She just had her second booster of something, so we're waiting for the third one. But with all that, here are some really great qualities about Ube that I enjoy. Number one, she doesn't bark at dogs or people or big sounds. That is great. But here's something that is concerning and that I'm not the biggest fan of. She doesn't bark at dogs or people or big sounds. And the reason that I'm concerned about that is because, is she shy of everything? Is she so socially anxious and just like introverted that like she's scared and doesn't react but kind of like hides away? I'm not sure. Now, of course, during this time when you have a dog, it's very important to socialize them because they're developing not just like physically but also mentally, emotionally, their surroundings. And we have a lot of dogs in this apartment. And of course, it's hard to socialize your dog when they're not fully vaccinated and you can't take them to certain areas. And this also, it reminds me of this this point that people make, being like, why are people taking dogs to Home Depot and all these places, blah, blah, blah. Like, dogs aren't allowed there. Why don't you take them to the park? Well, sometimes certain dogs can't be around grass and get diseases, and they just can't be around certain dogs when they themselves are not safe. They're not fully vaccinated. They don't have all these things. And so the veterinarians, the doctors, they usually recommend when a dog can't, get out there and like go to the parks yet, but it's crucial for them to start socially developing. Is my own vet doctor literally said, take her to like places like Home Depot, so she's exposed to different sounds, to different lights, to different people, but without that like actual physical touch reaction. So, I understand the point of not like, why the fuck is a dog at like a grocery store? But when it comes to like really young dogs, like puppies, for their safety and also the safety of other dogs so they don't fucking die, that's kind of the only options, to take them to isolated public places where they're not touching the ground and they get exposed to all these foreign things that they are not fully protected from. But because I live in New York City, it's kind of hard to do that. The nearest Home Depot is a subway away. That whole journey is a bit hard. But luckily, like I said earlier, we have quite a few people who live in the building who have dogs and who have stated that they're comfortable and safe with my dog interacting with their dog. And we also just have a lot of people coming in and out, and I've told them, I'm like, by the way, like, she's got this, and that still, letting you know. And it's not dangerous for them to interact with the dog, but it's more of Ube's safety rather than the human safety. So she is being exposed, but of course there's so many limitations and so many things that you can do. So that's an issue that I'm also dealing with. But apparently, this recent vaccine I gave her, in about 4 days, she'll be able to go on walks. So that issue, by the time you see this, is taken care of. Thank God. In the first 2 weeks, I felt so mixed with emotions because I've always wanted a dog. I wanted to be this perfect moment, and I realized that it's not the case. When you get a pet to love and take care of them, no matter their personality. And of course, that's a gamble when certain qualities you were hoping for don't play out in the way that you want them to. But of course, once again, it's way too early to tell some of these things. But when you're in it and you're 3 weeks deep into, taking care of them, cleaning up their poop, their pee, their throw up, making sure that they're not eating rocks and bugs, and instead of getting love in return, they just growl and bark at you. Emotionally, your brain in the moment doesn't realize that this is temporary, but it's oh, this is gonna be forever. And then Weston has to be no, it's not. She's just a puppy. We have to remember this. And of course, my brain, when I'm depressed and anxious, I'm no, she's gonna be like this forever. She hates me. You're the hero. I'm the villain. And it's also because, one other thing, when you co-parent anyone, right, you tend to usually be driven to one other than the other one. And there's a lot of factors to that, but one is that one parent might discipline you and then you run to the other one for comfort. But the thing is that you need to be disciplined. Not I don't believe in hitting children or anything, but dogs, sometimes they need to be taught that hey, pooping and peeing on the carpet or the hardwood floor is not good. And the only way to teach them that is to literally show them and be you can't do this, raising your voice a little bit. And of course they're scared. And because I'm Ube's sole technical parent, she's got my last name at the vet, I have to be the one that enforces strict rules, which I don't like doing, but I know that has to be done. They have to learn, and I'm excited for this phase to be over because I just want to give her love and attention. But of course, that when she does something bad, rips something up, I go to her and I say, "Ube, no," and that raising voice makes her anxious. She runs to the fucking dad, and the man's the hero and the woman's the villain. I'm the one that's making her take a bath. I'm washing her, doing a bath, and she's in his arms and he's cradling her, being like, it's okay. Like, it's just funny because you don't really realize it until you step into the shoes of being a parent. It's like, oh, these things don't just apply to humans, but also pets. So how have I been how's it been? It's been great. I love her so much. I'll like see people, like when I'm taking her out, and they'll be like, "Oh, she's an angel. Oh, she's perfect. Her temper's just so even." And I'm like, "Well, it's because you're a stranger and she's scared of you. When she's comfortable, she gets wild." But that's okay because I signed up for that and I know that, and yeah. Not everything is, well, what's the saying? Roses and, I don't even know. Despite it all, I truly am just so happy, and I feel fulfilled. And, I don't know how people have children, and when I just mean one, I do mean multiple. When people have kids, and it's like, oh yeah, like, my son and my daughter, they're like a year apart, I'm just thinking about in a year, having to redo everything that I've been doing teaching her, but with another dog, and still raising her at the same time. I'd kill myself. I understand why my parents only had me and then stopped. And they were like, we can't do this again. And now I'm an only child. I get it, because I would never get 2 dogs. But look, she does love me, and I do love her, and she does trust me. And she knows that I'm mama.
Isn't that why? Isn't that why? It's just too much for you.
Anyway, this is the newest family member, and we do have the same fuck-ass Bob. And I didn't realize until 2 days after I got her. But anyway, that's my journey, and it still continues. We don't end here, we just keep going. I could be a good mother. I could be a good mother.
I've never heard her growl. I've never heard her do that.
Me either. Are you growling? Are you grabbing at the yarn? Oh, it's scary, I